few months ago, my brother and I decided to do something that honestly sounded crazy. I was studying abroad in Barcelona and he was a freshman at UT Austin. But instead of doing the normal thing, he took online classes, flew out to Barcelona, and we decided to go all in on music. Looking back, I realized something. Most people are not actually stuck because they lack opportunity. They're stuck because they're waiting for permission to become who they already know they are. Going to Barcelona really changed how I see life. Not just because of the city, the clubs, the people, or the experiences, but because for the first time, I really felt like I was living inside of the version of reality that I used to only dream about. And it made me realize this is what happens when you stop waiting for the perfect plan and you just start moving. One of the biggest things I've been learning about recently is that humans don't experience reality directly. We experience our interpretation of reality. And that matters because your perception controls your actions. If you believe your dream is unrealistic, then you're gonna act like your dream is unrealistic. If you believe you're not ready, you're gonna keep waiting. If you believe people will judge you, you're gonna hide. But if you start believing that this is possible for me, then your brain is only going to be looking for evidence. You start noticing opportunities, you start taking actions, and you become an entirely different version of yourself. For me, music has always been the vehicle for that. And to do it with my brother has made it even more meaningful. Because we're not just making music, we're building our own world. A sound, a brand, a community, a feeling, a movement around people who want to live fully and stop playing small. The craziest part is that none of this really felt realistic at first. Playing shows in Barcelona, creating content around our lives, building a name in a different country, and actually living the life that we used to talk about. But that is the point. Your future never feels realistic until you start becoming the person that belongs in it. At some point, you have to stop asking, is this realistic? And you have to start asking, what would this version of me who lives the life that I want do today? That question changes everything.
Baby, you say that I'm the one. You say that I'm the one who loves you most. Baby, you say that I'm the one. That's why I'm always holding you so close.
Because then the dream stops being some far-fetched fantasy. It becomes a standard, an identity, and something that you start to practice every single day. People talk about manifestation like it's just thinking positive thoughts and the universe will give you what you want. But that's not at all what it is. To me, manifestation is when your identity, your emotions, your attention, and your actions all start pointing in the same direction. You decide who you are becoming. Then you start seeing the world through that version of yourself. And eventually, reality starts giving you feedback. Not because you magically wished for it, but because you became the type of person that could create it. If you want to be an artist, you have to start acting like an artist. If you want to be a founder, you have to start solving problems like a founder. If you want a different life, you have to stop waiting until you feel ready. I think a lot of people secretly know what they want. They know what lights them up. They know what they would do if they weren't afraid. They know what version of themselves feels the most real. But then other people's opinions get loud. The fear of failing gets loud. And eventually, people convince themselves that the dream was just a phase. But I don't think your dream is random. I think the things that you naturally gravitate towards are clues. For me, music has always been one of those clues. Creating, performing, bringing people together, making people feel something, building a life around energy and expression. That is not random. That is a part of who I am. And I think everyone has something like that. One of the coolest parts about this journey is seeing how chasing our dreams has affected the people around us. When you actually go for something, you give permission to other people to do the same. You don't have to preach people or tell them how to live. You just become living proof. Proof that it's possible to try, to change, to take yourself seriously. That you don't have to follow the exact path everyone expects from you. And that's what I want our music and our brand to stand for. Not just partying or traveling or cool videos. It's about freedom, expression, and belief. So if you're watching this and you feel like there's a version of you that you keep avoiding, I think you should listen to that. Maybe you don't need to change your whole life tomorrow, but you do need to take the next step. Make that song, start that business, post that video, reach out to that person, say what's actually on the top of your mind. Become who you keep imagining yourself to be. Barcelona taught me that life can change fast when you stop waiting for permission. And these past few months with my brother has taught me that the dream is not something that you find, it's something that you build. One decision at a time, and eventually you'll look around and you'll realize you're not just dreaming anymore. You're living inside the life that you always imagined. So stop asking if you're ready or not, and start acting like you're the person that you came here to become.